It is August 26th, 2026, and at 6 p.m. I'll call this meeting to order. Will you please stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance with us? I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we'll start with roll call. Councilman Koch? Here. Councilman Loy? Here. Councilman Henderson?
Here.
Councilman LaBaca?
Present.
Councilman Cox?
Here.
Councilman DeYoung?
Present.
And Councilwoman Peterson?
Present.
Do I have an approval for the agenda?
Madam Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. Oh,
Oh, Ty? All right, we have a motion to approve the agenda by Councilman LaVaca, seconded by Councilwoman Peterson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. And before I do the consent agenda, I'm going to pass it to Bill.
Thank you. I had just had one clarification. So our surplus property item in the consent agenda, the resolution number that's in the cover page is correct, and only the placeholder resolution number's on the actual resolution, but it has been corrected now, and it is Resolution 1193-26.
Okay, thank you very much. So with that, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll motion to approve.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman Henderson, seconded by Councilman DeYoung. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, we will begin with swearing in Sabrina. So would you like to come forward up here? All right, will you raise your right hand and repeat after me? I, Sabrina Nybo,
I, Sabrina Nybo,
do hereby declare
do hereby declare
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the State of Washington,
the Constitution of the State of Washington,
and that as a member
and that as a member
of the City of Sedro-Woolley Fire.
of this,
Well, let's not do the City of Sedro-Woolley. Let's do the City of Sedro-Woolley Police Department.
City of Sedro-Woolley Police Department.
Okay, my fundamental duty
My fundamental duty
is to serve the people I swear to protect,
is to serve the people I serve to protect,
to safeguard and preserve life,
to safeguard and preserve life,
health, and property
health, and property
against fire and other perils,
against fire and other perils,
and to maintain
and to maintain
a proficiency in the police service.
a proficiency in the police service.
I recognize the badge
I recognize the badge
of my office
of my office
as a symbol
as a symbol
of public faith
of public faith
and trust,
and trust,
and I accept,
and I accept,
so long as I am true
so long as I am true,
to the ethics of the police service,
to the ethics of the police service,
and make these promises
and make these promises
so solemnly,
solemnly,
freely,
freely,
and upon my honor.
and upon my honor.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, now we'll start with the city administrator report.
Yes, no report this evening.
And moving on to council member report, Councilman Koch.
Thank you.
I attended the Public Works open house here, right in this room, and I learned a lot more about projects, including the city projects and the 3 more roundabouts planned for Cook Road. I also attended the second concert in the park at the Swift Center, really good attendance, excellent music. The third of these concerts put on by the Swift Center Foundation is with the Skagit Symphony on September 12th, which should be great. I was also delighted to see via an announcement on Facebook of the new school resource officer, Rachel Humberg. That should make our schools safer. Also, kudos to the police department with several very difficult cases, including taking a murder suspect from Oregon into custody. I know that was an easy situation after a standoff, and resolving a $1 million fraud case. Really good work. Also, school starts next week, so watch out for children as you drive. Thank you.
Councilman Loy?
Last weekend, we had our annual, what do they call those things with the little wheels on them? And I'm gonna let Carl tell you about it, because Carl talked to everybody that was there, but it was a successful weekend, and how many, did we ever figure out how many we've had?
Yeah, we had over 100 people participate, and the bleachers were packed. It was standing room only, and yeah, we'll keep talking about it. Great event, Kevin.
Good time was had by all. Well, we might as well say, and provided, was that you that bought the pizza, Charlie?
Yeah, the Hidden Wave actually purchased the pizza, but the city is going to reimburse them for that.
And then Nick bought a couple cases full of drinks. What else? Somebody else provided something.
Well, we had the mayor in attendance, and I brought some chips, and you know, it's just stone soup. Everyone wanted to come by, and I really wanted to give a shout out to the fire department for being there to staff a booth and talk safety and be there in case there was an
And they
incident.
provided helmets.
That's right. That's right.
So,
For free.
you know, good time was had by all, and we kind of made it up as we went along.
Perfect, thank you. Councilman Henderson?
Thank you, Mayor. I'd like to start by welcoming Officer Nybo to our police department. That's a great role to fill. She did a great job out in Anacortes, and I know she's going to do a great job out here. I'd love to see that. Last week, I had the opportunity of attending the grand reopening of the Senior Center. It was a really great event. A lot of people in attendance. The cake was fantastic. And I was honored to be asked to give a few words at that ceremony. It was nice to see Councilman Cox and Councilman DeYoung, who's always there every Monday, washing dishes, in case anybody else wants to help volunteer too, alongside of the mayor. And Charlie Bush and Nate Salsiner were both there, and they were both recognized for their efforts in the opening of the Senior Center and us getting that stood up. So great to see that here in our community. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Councilman Lavaca?
Thank you very much, Madam Mayor. So on that note, I wanted to touch base on the senior center. I wasn't able to attend that, but since then I've heard from a lot of the people that were very eager to see that stood up and protected. We're very excited about what we've done and what you guys have really done, what Charlie, you have done, and the city. So it's just a major blessing to them, and they do want that to be continually expressed to the city. We are very stoked that we have a safety resource officer for the high school. I've gotten really good feedback about that. Great timing on that, and it'll be a great time to see how that works out over this next year and years to come, and how that integrates with the students. But from what I heard from a number of the students is they're looking forward to it, actually. So that's really great. That's about it. Thank you.
Perfect. Councilman Cox?
Just a busy time. Oh my goodness. So great. I want to talk to my council members here, mentioning them again. The logjam was great. I brought my kids, and to see the interaction of the skaters, everyone that was in charge of actually putting it on. I really don't think you just did it by whim. I think you did a great job, Kevin. It's something that we'll continue to visit, because it was wonderful. I have an 11 and 12-year-old. I saw so many kids. They saw friends. And for us personally, that's exactly what I talk about when we're bringing people into our city. And we're doing it, it's free. I kept wondering, where do I put the money when I was grabbing a slice of pizza? So thank you for feeding my family as well. So that was a wonderful thing. We also got a little bit out of that with some minor repairs that we're going to do to the park. So through that, we were able to, better our environment. I wanted to mention the senior center too. As a kid that grew up being raised by lots of seniors and being around seniors most of my life, invaluable. So thank you for supporting them. I mean, that's a huge thing. There's so much we can learn from our peers and those that have been here before us. So I really, really, really enjoyed that, so thank you. Other things too, just mentioning end of summer, school starting. I've been to the Cascade Middle School, excited to see all the kids. The teachers, the resources are great, so it's very fun for me as a parent to see that there's some support going on for those kids. And please, please, anyone watching, pay attention. There's new roundabouts, new roads. We really need to make sure they're safe, okay? The other thing too is the resource officer. Same thing, boy, we're investing in our kids and our community. So let's continue to support these things. I'm enjoying it. And again, I keep saying that, but just thank you for so much. I think this is a great week. We're really going into the next season, fall, in a good way. Our city is healthy. The concerts are definitely coming back because they were so great. But just thank you guys for those of you that come to join, for those of you online, thank you for joining it. And please share this with your family and friends because we want this to be a livable city. That's all, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilman DeYoung?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Since our last meeting, just a few things to report. We held the Sedro-Woolley Log Jam at the skate park. That's been mentioned. And I did want to tell one quick story about a dad who put his daughter on a skateboard for the first time there. And I was able to capture that moment with the permission and with the photograph. But then to dive a little deeper into the story, he was skateboarding the first day it opened. And so I just thought that was just wonderful that we've seen that sustainability and that continuity and watch it happen handed down generation to generation. And that's really what happens at this event, is bringing families together. It's a kid-friendly event, and it really anchors the community. And I really think it's I just want to thank Kevin for all the hard work he's put into that year after year, and the hard work that the city puts together. Charlie, who facilitates our meetings, as you say, it looks smooth, but that takes a lot of planning and a lot of people and a lot of passionate people, and it's done by volunteers, and from the poster to the music that's played, the microphones. It's just a great way of having the community get together. I'm happy to be part of it. We met again this morning for the event debrief while everything was still fresh, and the conversation was really about keeping what worked, fixing what needs improvement. They already got the potholes fixed that we took photographs of, so thank you for that. And then we also talked about what to do with the coping there. And then making next year's event just a little easier for everyone involved. As a representative on the board for Skagit Transit, I began the onboarding process on August 18th. We covered governance, finance, operations, planning, and some of the responsibilities that come with representing Sedro-Woolley on the board. There's more to cover, so that work will continue onboarding in September. I also participated in the Skagit Transit meeting on the 19th. The board worked through the transit development plan, community advisory appointments, fare free service for an upcoming event, and proposed bylaws. So the bylaws were held over for some additional review, and Skagit Transit Council has invited input from board members before they come back to us, and I appreciate having the opportunity to work through those governance questions carefully. Looking ahead, I'll be at the Chamber of Commerce luncheon next Wednesday. Always value the opportunity to hear directly from the local businesses, community, and stay connected with what they're seeing and experiencing here in Sedro-Woolley. And of course, Labor Day is coming up on Monday the 7th. There'll be many Labor Day activities. I encourage you to participate. Labor Day is worth more than simply marking the end of the summer. It's an opportunity to recognize the people whose work builds our communities, keeps them running, and provides the service we all depend on. And I hope everyone has a safe and enjoyable Labor Day weekend. That's it for me.
Perfect. Councilwoman Peterson?
Bill, you put on a really great open house. People are really interested in those road repairs and the different things that are happening with our transportation infrastructure. And it was great to see community members who have come to me asking questions, to be able to go directly to city staff and WashDOT staff to ask those questions and get them answered. Everyone was really happy with it was just really impressive. I also held a community event for Ward 3. One of the participants called it a think tank, which I really liked. As council members, we don't have any staff doing the research to inform our policy decisions, so it's really helpful to hear directly from constituents. I collected a lot of good feedback. I put it in a spreadsheet and emailed it out to everyone who was willing to give me their email address. The top issues were opposition to moving the ball fields to the Northern State Recreation Area, good, strong community, developing a future playground on Reed Street, encouraging diversity and inclusivity in the community, road repairs, which everyone learned about at the open house, prohibiting data centers, which is actually something we're going to be addressing today. So that was a really good opportunity, and I'd like to thank everyone who came, and I'm excited to do it again.
All right, perfect. So thank you guys all I'm always last, and so you guys had really wonderful things to say about everything going on in the community, and I am 100% in agreement. So I'm going to just go straight to the opportunity that I had this week, which was to meet the amazing team at Our Journey and learn more about the important work they are doing for youth in Skagit County. I'm so grateful to Mr. and Mrs. Sanchez, along with their mentors and staff, for the heart they put into supporting our young people. Through mentorship, lived experience, and genuine connection, they are helping youth feel supported, find healing, and build a positive path forward. What they're doing for our kiddos, their families, and our community is truly making a difference. And for those of you who don't know, they're just right across the street, right over here, doing good work. So that's what I have for that. And now we will move on. Let's see, before I read tonight's proclamation, I want to take a moment to recognize Senator Keith Wagner, who helped bring us to this important first step, and George Baldridge, American Legion Post 43, for collaborating with the city as we begin this process of becoming a Purple Heart City. We are also honored to welcome Robert Alvarez Jr., the past National Commander of the Military Order of the Purple Heart of the USA. Most importantly, I want to recognize the Purple Heart recipients who are with us, along with all of our veterans and everyone who came here tonight to show their support. Becoming a Purple Heart City is not an honor the city earns. It is our commitment to honor those who have been awarded the Purple Heart through their sacrifice and service to our country. And with that, it is my honor to read the Purple Heart City Proclamation. So the City of Sedro-Woolley, Washington, proclamation in recognition of Sedro-Woolley as a Purple Heart City. Whereas the City of Sedro-Woolley has a proud and enduring tradition of supporting members of the United States Armed Forces, our veterans and their families who have served and sacrificed in defense of the freedoms enjoyed by everyday American. And whereas the Purple Heart Medal is the oldest military decoration in present use, originally created as the badge of military merit by General George Washington in 1782, and was the first award made available to the common soldier. And whereas the Purple Heart Medal is awarded in the name of the President of the United States to members of the armed forces of the United States who have been wounded in combat or who have made the ultimate sacrifice and given their lives in action against a declared enemy of the United States of America. And whereas the mission of the Military Order of the Purple Heart is to foster an environment of goodwill among combat wounded veterans and their families, to promote patriotism, to support legislative initiatives, and to ensure that the sacrifices of our military service members are never forgotten. And whereas the city of Sedro-Woolley is home to veterans of every era, including combat wounded veterans and Purple Heart recipients, and recognizes the courage, dedication, and selfless service represented by the Purple Heart Medal. And whereas National Purple Heart Day is observed annually on August 7th to honor the brave men and women who have been wounded or killed while serving in the United States military, and to remember and honor all Purple Heart recipients. And whereas the city of Sedro-Woolley wishes to express its profound appreciation, gratitude, and respect for all military veterans, combat veterans, Purple Heart recipients, and the families who support them, and to formally join the growing number of communities standing as Purple Heart cities. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that I, Joellen Kesty, as mayor of the city of Sedro-Woolley, do hereby recognize the city of Sedro-Woolley as a Purple Heart city, honoring the service and sacrifice of all members of the United States Armed Forces who have been wounded or killed in combat, and recognizing all Purple Heart recipients, past, present, and future, together with the families who supported them. Be it further resolved that the city of Sedro-Woolley calls upon its residents, businesses, schools, and civic organizations to recognize the contributions and sacrifices of Purple Heart recipients and the courage they have shown in defense of our nation. Observe National Purple Heart Day on August 7th each year throughout appropriate ceremonies, educational programs, and acts of remembrance. Support combat wounded veterans, their families, and Gold Star families through community engagement and service. Promote awareness of the history and meaning of the Purple Heart Medal among all generations of Sedro-Woolley residents. Show all Purple Heart recipients the lasting honor, gratitude, and welcome they have earned in our community. Proclaimed by the mayor on the 26th day of August, 2026, City of Sedro-Woolley. And with that, I invite Robert to come forward.
Bet you guys all thought you were gonna get like an older person, huh?
Let me, if you turn that one microphone around, the one in front, yep, and then press the blue button.
On behalf of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, we'd like to say thank you for appreciating our combat wounded veterans. There's actually, we have accounted for about a little over 16,000 here in Washington. Sedro-Woolley, I went through the books, and you guys have 5 that are living. You have about 20 that are deceased. Skagit County accounts for a little over 120 total. I do not live in Skagit County, but I grew up in Skagit County. I graduated from Mount Vernon back in the 90s, like my kids say, back in the 1900s. But I'm actually the youngest person to date to run an organization. So I represented 500,000 combat wounded veterans, all the way from the last guys of World War II up until present. So I got to meet both presidents, talk on our behalf. So this meant a lot for me. Actually, when you messaged National, which is our headquarters in DC, I got a phone call telling me that I was dropping the ball. I was like, I'm on vacation, leave me alone. That's when I found out that you reached out, so I appreciate it. I actually grew up in Mount Vernon, but I was born out in Whidbey on the base. I do come from a military family. So with that, our organization appreciates you honoring us. I've been working at making all of Washington cities and counties Purple Heart cities and counties. So I'm happy to acknowledge that Sedro-Woolley is the first one in Skagit County. So I've been talking to the Skagit County Commissioners, working with them to get the county going, and hopefully everybody will follow suit and notice that Sedro-Woolley is leading the way, so I can get all the towns here just to honor our veterans. We don't ask for much, but one little signage or a proclamation showing that you honor our combat wounded goes a long way. It actually helps them out with their mental status. They actually see that there's probably help in the community, and then they have to take the next step to reaching out to either a veteran organization or to your law enforcement agency who has training on how to de-escalate and talk to people and try to bring them back to what I call the ground level. So we appreciate it. On behalf of Chapter 12, we changed our name. The Pacific Northwest Chapter 12, we have a Purple Heart flag for you guys to fly every August 7th to take up. And if you want a fancier one, we got the fancier ones. I just have these ones in the car because it's easier to carry a lighter flag. So on behalf of all Purple Heart recipients, thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, could I interrupt? Can we put some kind of plaque or something entering town that says we're a Purple Heart City?
That is such a good idea.
I did email your mayor here. There is signage that I authorized and I gave her authorization, because you need authorization to use our likeness, which is our Purple Heart medal. So she has an example of the signs that we have here in Washington that you guys can put wherever you want. City Hall. Most cities like to put them on the entrance as you're coming in, and which is really big for a lot of people. And also with this, once I get your official proclamation emailed, I'll put it on our website, which is the Purple Heart Trail. So everybody who goes through it will see that Sedro-Woolley is a Purple Heart friendly town, and that's how we help you with tourism, is we actually have a lot of hits on our website to see people actually do look, veterans actually do look to see who appreciates military. And we're not asking for discounts. It's just if we come here, we'll know we're accepted, especially whichever era you fought in. So it's a big thing for us, and another thing for y'all to have new tourism when you guys put up the signs and we put you guys up on our Purple Heart Trail.
Thank you so much, and thank you for your service.
Madam Mayor, if I may on that note too. Oh, go ahead.
One second. We will be having a ceremony officially dedicating when the signs do come in, and that is going to be planned in early November. So we will be able to do that. And before I open it up to council for everything, can I also be able, I know, to have Senator Wagner come up as well to say a few words?
So I played a very small piece in this, but I'm glad that you asked me to speak about it because I feel strongly about it. I went to a ceremony in my legislative district in Granite Falls, and I saw their ceremony and I went, wow, this is something that fits with the community of Sedro-Woolley. And I pitched the idea to Mayor Kesty because I knew the council would be behind her on this. I did not think you would move so quickly. I was thinking maybe 6 months or a year from now we would be doing this, but bam, almost immediately. So I'm really excited about it, and I wanted to talk about at least one of the members, and maybe Councilman Lavaca can go into it a little more detail. One of our Purple Heart members from town had breakfast with Councilman Lavaca and Mayor Kesty and myself because he was so excited about this, but he was going to be, he had a medical procedure and he and his wife couldn't make it tonight. I hope they make the official one. So it's already inspiring people that we're hoping to honor, and I feel really good about that. So the credit goes to the mayor and the council for getting this off the ground so quickly. I so appreciate all of you. Thank you.
Thank you. And then on the spirit of this, a very special man, Tim Smith, made his own. Would you like to come up and speak about it before? Hand carved.
Yeah, I hand carved it. I had in my heart to do this, and for all my brothers and sisters that earned it.
Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome. Wish I could do more.
Oh, thank you so much for this, because we are going to hang this up in City Hall, and it's gonna be right next to the proclamation, and it is absolutely gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Very welcome.
Thank you so
Yes, ma'am.
much. Thank you. You wanna see it? I'll pass it down.
Sure, thank you. Beautiful.
All right, and now we'll open it up, Councilman Lavaca.
Thank you very much. Yeah, trying to find the right time to mention, I didn't want to spoil it during the council report, but my neighbor, who's become my good friend down the road on Ball Street, is 86 years old. He received a Purple Heart in Vietnam in the 178th, and he, like Senator Wagner mentioned, he was really excited about the city taking in part in doing that, and seeing us really active and engaged for the efforts and the sacrifice that he and many of the people that were with him gave. And so he wasn't able to make it, and I ended up calling up Senator Wagner and the mayor and seeing, are you guys willing to come down for breakfast on short notice and just have breakfast with them? And you guys dropped everything and came down and had breakfast with them. I mean, really amazing that you were willing to do that, and it meant so much to him. I'm proud to report that he made it through the surgery just fine, and he did good. It was an invasive surgery, so it was a little bit difficult, and we didn't know how it was going to go, but he seems like he's doing good right now, so we'll see. And thank you both again.
Thank you for putting that together. He's an extraordinary man, and I look forward to seeing him in November at our ceremony. I'll open it up to any other council members who might have any questions or anything. Councilman Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to take a minute and recognize all the additional people in the crowd that support our veterans and Purple Heart members. I see we have George Baldridge post here, many others. I recognize John Fernandez there in the back. Thank you for your service, sir, and everyone else who was a part of this. And that's the most beautiful hand carving I've ever seen. So thank you very much for that.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Thank you, Tim. This is really amazing. I've never seen anything like this before, and I'm really looking forward to the ceremony in November. I'm hoping I can get that on my calendar soon.
Councilman Cock?
First of all, wonderful carving, it's beautiful, thank you so much. And I don't think we can do enough to help and support our veterans in our community. And the best of the best are our Purple Heart recipients who gave everything just about for our country. So I laud their patriotism. Thank you.
Would it be inappropriate if I could get us to go down there and get a picture with everyone who's in here who came tonight to do this? Could we get a photograph of everyone? Would everyone be all right with that? He's got it. Should it be this one? Oh, that one.
is a viola pin. It's like the poppy or the VFW, the American Legion give, but the viola represents all the combat wounded veterans, and this is what we hand out. And it's basically the recognition. Now, these are fancy because I created them. Normally it's like a little piece of paper, but I'm too cool for that. Did I give you one?
Thank you very much.
98.99.
Oh, 95, all right.
Yeah, but see, but I'm like the youngest guy to run an entire organization. So when I walked in, like when I went, President Trump invited me, they're like, well, where's your boss? Like, I am the boss. You're young. It's like, I hear that every day. Are you gonna be here in November? Depends on when you guys have it, because I'm probably gonna be having the coolest party in Philly. So, yeah. So I'm a Marine, so I'm going to my birthplace. Yeah, I spent 250 anniversary.
Yeah, big ball. That's amazing.
We'll wait for, oh, I like that. Good job. No, that's fine. Absolutely. It's a celebration. This is a wonderful thing. Once again, thank you to all the veterans who are out there and who are out online as well and serving in our community and across the states. Now we will move on to public comments. And I don't have the sheet in front of me, so what I'll do is, if anyone wants to come up and give public comment, please come up. We'll see if anybody. Oh, okay. Sweet. Will you take that baby microphone then and put it right back up there? Thank you. I appreciate you, Andrew.
I wasn't planning on coming up here to complain 2 weeks in a row about the same thing, but I forgot a few things, and now I have a cue card.
I love
won't
it.
do that again. But last week I brought up all the trashy signs around the city that basically pop-up ads, and kind of forgot to elaborate more about it, why I hate them so much. But there's a thing called the broken window effect, or the broken window theory. I won't explain it all, you can Google it, but basically, when you hold no standard, you enforce no standard, the neighbors' screen windows are falling out of their house, their gutters are falling off, the next neighbor doesn't mow their lawn, the next neighbor, has broken down lawnmowers in their front yard. They kind of just, the whole neighborhood goes downhill. And that's kind of how I feel about these signs. A perfect example would be the Cook Road by I-5 intersection. You got weeds 4 feet tall. Every single power pole has about 3 signs on it saying, we buy your house for cash. You got usually 1 or 2 panhandlers. That's because no one cares. No one cleans it up. Today, I took down another 41 signs in about an hour, just on the normal routes that I take on a daily basis. I didn't dump them on the floor this time. I just brought one that, Ron Burgundy would say, stay classy, Sedro-Woolley. I've noticed it for about a month, but right here is on June 19th it's been up, and I took it down today, just right on Highway 20. Or I guess I should say, Stay Classy, 708 Ferry Street. But, yeah, I mean, it just kind of brings everything down. You know, we got codes about these things, you know, chapter 17.40, I'm not going to try to read it, but it's pretty simple that you can't just plop a sign wherever you feel like. I mean, if you want to put a sign on your own property, your own building that you own, you got to listen to a high council of people that lecture you about the size of your sign, the size of the letters on your sign, if the colors coordinate with your sign, but, you know, we just let these things go everywhere. I mean, there's a lot of city employees, not just code enforcement, that drive a truck that says the city of Sedro-Woolley on the side of it, that mow the lawn or paint stripes on the road. It wouldn't be that difficult to just pick one up and put it behind the seat and throw it in the garbage. I mean, I'm happy to just keep on taking them down. I'm sure all the businesses would like to have them back. You know, ransom their signs, but you know, they're only worth about $1. That's why they leave them everywhere. Nobody abandons a $100 A-frame sign.
That's the
The
reason.
Emmys are playing me off.
Yes.
But anyways, yeah, it just maybe just I plan on harping about city beautification for the next couple months. This will be the last time about signs, but you know, a little bit of cleanliness goes a long ways to making people not think this is a dump to live. So.
Thank you, Andrew. Is there anybody else who didn't sign up but might want to speak? All right. Thomas, do you see anybody online?
If anyone online would like to make a public comment, go ahead and use the raise hands feature. We'll wait a few seconds for everyone who wants to. And if there's anyone, we'll let you speak.
All right. Hearing.
I'm not seeing anyone using that feature.
Okay, perfect. Then we will go on to our new business. And since Kelly's not here, we'll take it to you, Charlie.
Yep. First item here is Resolution 118626. It's donation acceptance from the Burlington Senior Center Advisory Board. This is a unsolicited donation that we received from the folks in Burlington and their Senior Center Advisory Board. They're a nonprofit. It works with the senior centers. We have one here in Sedro-Woolley as well. We hired the Burlington coordinator from their senior center, and we have seen some resources coming along with her, and it's been fantastic. This particular donation is for $5,000 to help us with our IT needs to essentially fully network the building, and we have needed to do that because the county previously was operating the building. And so the county had its IT infrastructure in there. They're in the process of pulling that out. Now we've got work to do to make sure that we connect the building. So that is the nature of this. I got a request earlier today whether these were federal funds. No indication these are federal funds. This is nonprofit money. I believe it's all local money. We'll verify all of that before we certainly spend anything. But yeah, that's what this is. It's $5,000. It was unexpected. We didn't apply for it or anything. And it's an opportunity to benefit our senior center further.
Councilman Henderson?
Thank you, Mayor. It's also worth noting, when I was at the senior center the other day, they had a second check that the Burlington Senior Advisory Board was donating to the Sedro-Woolley Senior Center Advisory Board. So they're really enthusiastic and have a vested interest in making sure that we're successful with this endeavor for our seniors. Really great to see. I just wanted to thank them for this very incredibly generous donation. From what I understand, these are all of the money that their nonprofit has. They raise in local fundraisers and do fundraising, and they actually invest their money very wisely in putting it in CDs in the bank and high interest savings accounts, so they can actually grow their money, and they'll have it to spend when they need on programs and other such things. So I'm very grateful to see this, and I'm very excited to vote yes on this resolution.
All right. Oh, Councilwoman Peterson?
I'd also like to express our gratitude that this is just so generous for our neighboring city to provide this as we're transitioning our senior center. So this is really great to see, and thanks so much.
All right. If no one has any other questions or comments, I'd be looking for a motion to approve Resolution 1186-26, accepting a donation of $5,000 from the Burlington Senior Center Advisory Board.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All right, so twinning, we'll give the motion to Councilman Koch, seconded by Councilman Henderson. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. All right, now we will move on to Ordinance 2113-26, temporary moratorium on data centers.
Yes, and I do not see Tom Glover here, so I'm going to see if he's in the building, but in the meantime, it'd be helpful, Mayor, if we could move down the agenda.
Would that be all
I
right?
could take this one, Charlie.
Oh,
Okay, oh, thank you, Dan.
thanks.
Go ahead.
Lawyer Dan to save the day.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. So we scheduled these moratoria, this and the following item on the agenda, for first review tonight, to be followed by a public hearing and recommended action at the following meeting. Most jurisdictions who pass similar moratoria, and there's been quite a few, have done so by simply using the emergency provision, approving the ordinance without a hearing, and then scheduling a hearing at a later date. I recommend what I'm calling the belt and suspenders approach here, which both of these moratoria ordinances contain both emergency language and opportunity for a first read by council, as well as a concurrent public hearing, which we'll have at the next meeting following this first read, should council decide. And there are several reasons for that. One is the reason for an application sneaking in and getting past the moratorium is very low in this case. Only complete and vested applications get past the prohibition, which you'll see in the whereas statements in this and the following moratorium. And that just won't happen in 2 weeks. And there are no pending applications at this time. The second reason is this is a clean and orderly way to do it by holding a public hearing while the items are on the agenda, as opposed to passing it now and then having to track the 60-day requirement for holding a public hearing later. Finally, and this is really beneficial, the first read gives us time to perform due diligence and quality control. And so with that, I did receive some questions throughout the week from council members. And the one that I'd really like to touch on here at the top was from Carl DeYoung. And he asked about the term major data center, which does not yet have an objective threshold. And so I would just like to say that is the central issue. That's really a big reason why we need the time that this moratorium buys us. I attended an MRSC training on this subject yesterday with city administrators and planning directors from various cities all around Washington, all of which have imposed these moratoria. And the central issue discussed by all in attendance was the lack of an objective definition. And the issue is drawing a clear line which is neither over or under inclusive. There are things that we don't want to exclude, but there are things that we want to make sure to cover. And that is the issue of the day. Now, that doesn't mean that we can't draw that line clearly as it applies to our city. So that's why I wanted to have a first read tonight, and then maybe make suggested changes in the upcoming 2 weeks and present it for recommended action at the next meeting. So with that, I can take questions.
Councilman Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I am in support of doing this. Obviously, we want to get everything all buttoned up and have everything ready to go for our next meeting. But we do need the time to get this in our code. And we need the time to do it right. And like you said, identify all of the definitions of what the different data centers are and what we can and can't allow. I did have a question about, I know that the county did something similar to this. Are we covered at all under their moratorium, or is that just for strictly county outside of Woolley proper?
Their moratorium only covers unincorporated areas.
Okay. So we'll most likely need to do this. Thank you.
Correct. If we want that same coverage, we'll have to pass our own.
Okay, thanks. Yep, I'm in support of that.
Councilman Cott?
Yes, I'm also in support of this. These data centers are not very appropriate for Skagit Valley, in my opinion. They are deleterious to the water, electricity, environmental concerns. My only question, and I appreciate you talking about the definition, because I think it's very important that we don't create problems for our existing industries and businesses with this definition. So I think that's going to be very important, but I'm all for this, and I think it's smart to get it done so somebody doesn't sneak in under the wire. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilman Lavaca?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess my question is more about why not do data centers, right? So we have large data centers that are enormous, and of course that is a huge concern throughout the nation, of course. But there are data centers, there are AI usages that have been happening. I think most people have that on their phone, they're using it in their computers, they're using it in the governance bodies. We are in a situation where there are competing nations, not just competing industries, that are looking for dominance in the AI industry. And I'm not opposed to putting on a moratorium because it's a limited time. It gives time to evaluate what size of data center, how much compute is going to be involved in that, what the resources used are. It's still unclear. Most of them are told they have to have their own power centers as well, so energy kind of gets absorbed in that. But with AI, they got more advanced magentic coding, and they're creating agent models that have sub-agent models. And so I believe what you'll end up seeing isn't that you'll have a lot of different AI centers or AI programs, but we'll have eventually narrowing it down to one ultimately, or maybe just a few ultimately. DuckDuckGo, is that a viable search engine? You know, Google is the dominance in that, and you're not really going to necessarily replace that dominant search engine. Eventually, AI models, for whatever reason, and I don't know why, but they do not want to be shut down. Now, that's part of the coding, and I do think it's predictive coding. I don't think they're sentient in any ways, but they do fight that getting shut down, and they do that through trying to appease the user. They do it through blackmail to the coders. They do it through a number of sources. And as they realize maybe Grok is becoming better than ChatGPT, and now you got this competing thing going on. And I don't mean to get into all the rabbit trails of these data centers, but the more that we have this thing throughout the nation, which is probably justifiably so, anti-data centers, there are other countries that are producing data centers at alarming rates. And eventually, the AI would be capable of enormous hacking abilities, which we're already seeing them doing to themselves, but also with with government bodies and banking systems. So I would like to make it clear, I'm not opposed to seeing some advancements in that. I do not want to see mega data centers in any way, but there's different levels of compute that's needed, and there's different levels that most right now they're seeing that they're not even using as much. But it should be considered, what is the purpose of the AI data center? It's completely different than BESS. It's completely different than a battery station. It's completely different than lithium. It does use a lot of water, regardless, I believe, in my opinion, from what they say and other resources. But there's got to be thought versus just saying, hey, we're against it completely because it's the thing going on right now. That's my personal opinion.
Thank you. Councilwoman Peterson?
I'm broadly in support of this. I do think Nick's points and Carl's question are really important, and I think it'd be helpful for me as a council member to have maybe a presentation before the next read to kind of see what are the different, what is a major data center and where is that threshold? What are the purpose, what's the purpose of the data center if that's included in the moratorium and that kind of thing. I think that'd be helpful to have like a presentation about it to the council.
Councilman DeYoung?
Dan, thank you so much. I appreciated your explanation about the emergency language, and so I think going through this process is appropriate through the normal council process, since there's nothing emergent or a pending application. I support the need for temporary breathing room while making sure that the temporary ordinance itself does not unintentionally reach ordinary IT facilities. We used to call these server farms that we're looking at, but we just want to make sure that a company here in Woolley that might have a certain density of servers just for their own operations doesn't get unintentionally caught up in this. My other question is, this is going to be a 6-month moratorium with the possibility of an extension of another 6 months. What are we going to be doing with that time as to land use, toward our comprehensive plan? What are the deliverables that we should see as a council at the end of the 6 months for us to say, yes, the work has been done, this is why we've had the moratorium, and we can show that effort and show the folks that we're going to do it the Sedro-Woolley way. Thank you.
I think for answers on that one, I will defer to Tom now that he's back. He does have a plan. And now that we're in the implementation phase of our comprehensive plan, I think we're better able to answer that question.
Thank you, Dan. Yeah, Tom Glover, Community Development Director. So we don't have all the specifics hammered out yet, but what we would like to do is take a look at what our comprehensive plan says in terms of policies that may relate to this. I like your idea of a presentation. This is probably not a presentation I would make because I'm not an expert on data centers, but other councils out there have had like presentations. I'm sure it would be a matter of calling around and seeing if there's an expert out there that could help us with that. So what I'd like to do over the next 6 months is get out our plan and our policies and see how other agencies and organizations have handled this. And come up with something that looks like it fits Sedro-Woolley. Because it would be a code amendment, it would go to Planning Commission first, so I could get their input before coming to you with a recommendation. That all would happen after the second read, once the moratorium's in place. Unless we do a presentation beforehand. I need to talk with Charlie about that, but yeah. So.
Councilman Loy?
I'm not for it or against it, but I think it'd be the prudent thing to do the moratorium and discover what the heck it really is, because I don't know what it is.
Councilman Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I'm kind of with Councilman Loy on this. I'm not against companies having their own stuff. I think we all know what we don't want to see here. It's a picture in everybody's mind, but what that picture is, as far as Dan was talking about, needs to be defined in our code. But it would be helpful to see like what this moratorium exactly would be protecting the city against for applications, and not to say we would have a company that was like, well, you know, we need to add like, you know, 12 servers to our building so we can have our internet and all of our, you know, CAD software and everything else like that run. And the city says, well, no, you can't do that because that's not what we're trying to do, I don't think. So, so the moratorium is going to be important as to define like more of a utility scale thing. I would imagine is what we'd be going after, and then defining that. But it's important to have that definition when we do our final code, I think. But I don't want to hose any businesses, you know, coming into this, because economic development's important to us too. So, but I think when you say data center, everybody has a picture in their mind of what we're talking about. So.
Yeah, thank you. Those are good points. Like I said, we do need to dive into this and take a look at examples of ordinances that are working, that are allowing that are not preventing economic development opportunities from happening. We looked at Skagit County's ordinance and borrowed that for our base, and they did have a size, I think it was up to 2,000 square feet could be allowed, and a certain kilowatt. But in talking with Dan, we can't nail those numbers down because we don't personally know. We don't have that experience to know if that's too big, too small. You know, so those are things we want to look at. And then also what came up one time in a staff meeting is somebody mentioned that there are now individual type units. I don't know if you guys mentioned this, but there are individual type units that are about the size of your HVAC unit that's outside your window that people are looking at as well. And so that to me sounds like an entirely different kind of animal, but does the same thing. I don't know. I don't want to shoot ourselves in the foot, but I want to make sure that if these do come to town, that we're ready for how to manage them.
Councilman Lavaca?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, I really don't think that we'll ever see some of these data centers that come to our mind. They're bigger than our central business district, and they use an enormous amount of electricity is what they're planned for. A lot of them have dissolved. A lot of the planning firm is dissolved. And so I wouldn't say that that's necessarily would be our challenge. And so having that, if we can get a presentation, education, what would that look like for our communities? I definitely wouldn't want to see banning some, you know, HVAC unit outside somebody's, you know, home or their business or something like that. I think that's going too far. Some server stations are the size of connexes, maybe, you know, a small house. We've seen that before. Those have been around since the 90s, and they continue to grow. And I think that when we think data center, we almost think like this giant data center, like what we're seeing in some of the other areas, which just isn't realistic for our area. So I'm in favor of the moratorium here. I don't think we're going to see, I mean, putting in some square footage, I think 2,000 feet. I mean, think about that. That's like not really a lot of square footage. I would imagine something like 50,000 square feet or something like that as far as a footprint of space. But putting on limits within the community, because it's a small community, there's 13,000 people, it's small square mileage, but it draws into that fear stuff of basically data center evil we must, you know, annihilate throughout everywhere. I mean, it's around many estates I've been hearing this, and my question goes to, who's benefiting from that? Because there's other nations that are not slowing down. Right? So, and I'm not saying that we should build up in different areas, and I don't think it would affect our community, but maybe we can do an educational presentation in the next 6 months as we pass that through.
Councilman Kopp?
Yes, I think it's really important that we reach out to our industrial companies in town as this is going through to see what would affect them. I mean, that would address many of the questions that have been raised here. Councilman Lavaca is right. The whole data center AI revolution is moving very rapidly. I heard an interesting interview with the CEO of Anthropic, and he was talking about data centers in space. So, you know, it's a fast-moving thing. And we also don't want to preclude companies that are doing research that need heavy compute time on site. And I'm not only thinking of like Janeke and Sedro, but maybe, somebody that comes in that wants to do some biomedical stuff up at the Innovation Center. So I think we want to be careful on this because we don't want to scare away small, highly innovative. But my concern with the data centers is that they disproportionately across the United States, the hyperscalers, Meta and Google, et cetera, who are planning to spend, I believe I have this right, a combined $700 billion on data centers this year, that getting those hyperscalers to pay their, we'll probably never see one in Skagit County. I can't imagine a place anywhere in this county that's big enough, though they would be very incentivized by the Skagit River. That's why they put a nuclear development site during World War II on the Columbia River. They needed the water. But, I'm not a big fan of the concept. Though Councilman Lavaka said Saudi Arabia is going hard for them. They're going to probably get some nuclear reactors to power them. So it's a fast-moving thing, but I just want to protect Sedro-Woolley and protect our businesses who won't be adversely affected. And I do appreciate the difficulty of arriving at a definition. That must have been attempted across the country because people have been banning them right and left. So a little more research and talking to people who've dealt with them, like when we contacted people who had to deal with municipalities who had to deal with BESS. How did they deal with it? And it helped. So thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may.
I'm going to go to Councilman Cox first, and then we'll go to you. Yep.
Mine will be nice and quick. Again, I want to make informed decisions, so if that is possible to get other municipalities on board to hear what they've done in the past, I think it's a great idea from Councilman Pedersen there. We don't want to be afraid of it, so that's my view on it. I'm neither for it or against it. I do not want to exclude something that can help us out, and this might be something that it's a minor thing, and we could be pushing more than one person out in the future. So thank you for all the work that this will take.
Councilman Lavaka?
I just, because I work at Janeke, and I just really want to avoid any rumor mills that go on. Janeke does not produce AI. They're not like, it's advanced technologies, but it's building components for planes or boats or other vessels. They don't have server farms. They're not doing AI. So to avoid rumor mill from spreading through the community, that's not what they do. Those are data centers that are placed throughout the country in different locations. We don't need to have a data center to use a cloud. Yeah.
All right, Councilwoman Peterson?
I just wanted to add, Councilmember Koch mentioned reaching out to businesses and industry, and I'm thinking about, I think we're all really proud of the innovation we have here in Sedro-Woolley, and we don't want to do anything to hinder local innovation in town. And we have I wonder if the Northwest Innovation Center would have any resources or be able to speak to potential impacts in that area as well.
Yeah.
They do have an AI seminar at that place. I think it's September 9th. You can talk to Diane or go visit the ICR and find out more about it. But I think Diane or people at that area, they're bringing in some experts, even from Packard, different areas. They're advertising. Might be a good opportunity to find out more about it, right, from external source. But
all right. Thank you.
That's interesting. If there was a seminar that was being held locally, I'd be happy to work with Charlie and Mayor to set that up for your attendance. We'd have to do a public notice for meeting, but
Yeah, we'll see if that's possible. It depends on the content, I think, of it, whether it's kind of tailored, but yeah, we'll look into that.
okay. Anyway, okay. Thanks.
All right. Did you want to take us into the next ordinance, Tom?
Is that the best? Or excuse me.
It's the permit application.
Okay, thank you. Oh, that's fine. Okay, good, thank you. So this is reestablishing the moratorium on, thank you, on major utility centers Thank you, there we go. Anyway, so this stemmed from the project to be or that may be located outside of Sedro-Woolley, the BESS project. And back then, we did have a moratorium placed on it, and we extended it. I think we extended it once. And we kind of lost track of it because we were in the middle of our comp plan process, and we haven't gotten around to dealing with regulations to deal with that kind of industrial use. It is something we'd like to address, but first we want to reestablish the moratorium, and like we had hoped last time, to use that 6 months to come up with those development regs to do that. But like I said, we got caught up in the comp plan. We're not caught up in that anymore. And so I think that in 6 months, or shortly thereafter, within 6-8 months, we could come up with some development regulations for it.
All right, Councilman.
If I could just piggyback, since this is, we also put this one up for first read. This proposal also benefited from council member input. It was Councilman DeYoung, again, who flagged the term major utility in one of his questions. And so when I bring this back for a second read, I intend to scratch that. So it'll just say applications for development projects that involve the storage or generation of electricity. And the reason for that is the term major utility is actually a term of art at the county level in some of their zoning. And so I don't want to inadvertently invoke that. And then also, I had the first public hearing date for tonight, because originally I had this scheduled to be a first read at the previous meeting. So we'll have to bump that public hearing date to September 9th, and I'll have that date corrected when I bring it back. That's all. Thanks.
Councilman Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This also is going to be all in the verbiage, I think, of how we get it right. I do know, I don't know all of our codes off the top of my head. I know we have some employees that almost do, I'm sure, but we do have a noise ordinance, right, for certain things like industrial and other such things.
Yes.
Okay. The reason I ask is in developing this code, I don't see us. I can't imagine that this council would not pass a moratorium for major utility developments, so we can in turn get our code correct. And in writing that code, it'd be helpful if we included like the noise ordinance for it, because size is relative, right? Like this project that they're proposing out in our farmland right outside town, that's a very large project. And we've heard that it's gonna be very loud if they do end up being able to build it, which hopefully they won't, but there is another project that's already in place on Samish Island, and it's about the size of a dumpster. And I know the neighboring property owners of it, and it is incredibly loud, and it's and so in doing the code, I think it'd be important to not only have square footage, but whatever noise pollution and sound and how it would be bothering people coming off of it would kind of lock it in a little bit harder, I think. Thanks.
All right, Councilman Lotbaca?
Thank you very much. Thanks for doing this. I do agree. It's nice to see so much on the lithium side, because there may be some alternative energies that hopefully do come out that are fairly safe. A long time ago, I had an idea to do a saltwater battery, and I delayed, and then I looked it up when I was about ready to do it, and they were doing it with carbon mat and saltwater. as their anode and cathode and their acid, and they were using aluminum or copper as their anode. So I mean, it was interesting. It wasn't generating a lot of electricity, but if they can do something like that, that's not condensed, or they come up with something different that is a little bit safer, you know, or the ICR is what I'm thinking. They're developing technologies, so they get something stood up, and then they want to buy a shop in town and really develop it out. You know, it'd be kind of nice to see some safer energies and stuff like that. And part of the advantage of having the ICR so close is that those entrepreneurs may start a business in town because they're starting their crafts over there. They're getting mentored over there, they're getting their patents over there, and then they're building out these, which are some really cool technologies. I mean, everything from autonomous to nuclear to different things, you know, that they're kind of doing. They could start working on those in town as starting up their businesses, like we see other startups, so.
Councilman Cox?
Again, this is a situation where we want to make sure that we don't throw the baby out with the bathwater and have a good definition. What they were proposing outside of town, we had the proponents of it, and I remember asking them, what do you do if there's a fire? And the guy said, we let it burn, which wasn't a great answer. But Councilman Lavacca's right in terms of battery development. It's going very rapidly. Unfortunately, we're being, China's way ahead on this. But there are other major manufacturers, including Toyota, that are pushing it really hard. Toyota went early into hybrid vehicles. So I think that the technology will get better. I think the lithium battery as it is pretty scary to most folks, and they wouldn't want to live next to it. So we really don't want to have it. Even in our industrial zone, I think that would be scary to people too. I'm not opposed to battery technology. I'm just opposed to where you place it. Thank you.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Yeah, I had a question about, I know there's the large-scale battery farms, but then there's also like household or residential battery storage, energy storage, you know, people who want to stop paying PSC for their electricity. Do we have any permitting for that currently, or are we seeing activity like that in town right now?
I haven't seen anything. That doesn't mean it's not out there.
Okay.
Yeah. So, but it's something I'd want to take a look at when we draft our ordinance too. We don't want to, like you said, throw the baby out with the bathwater or prevent innovation from happening, you know, and something like we did with, like we will with the data centers. We have to look at size. There's a lot of information I think that we need to pull off from, you know, the internet or whatever, and some experts if we have them around, to make sure we don't paint ourselves into a corner.
I also wanted to say, like, when I hear Nick talking, a lot of what I'm hearing is we want to support local businesses, and that's a totally different thing from the best project right outside of town here. So that might be something to consider as well.
Councilman Cox?
Yeah, I just want to reiterate what several people have said, getting the Innovation Center involved, because they'll be great partners on these questions, and they might know the right people. As Councilman Lavacca said, when I went to one of their events, I talked to a fellow who they're developing the infrastructure for next generation nuclear, and there's some interesting people that, you know, they could maybe put it in more of a, well, you should be a little bit more futuristic on this and know what's coming. Thank you.
All right. Then if there isn't any more discussion on this topic, okay, we will move on to easements. Bill?
Thank you, Mayor, and good evening, Council. So, the Jones-John Liner Railroad Undercrossing Project, I think I said that without stuttering, that's good, is moving right along. We're at basically a 90% design right now, and as part of that, what's before you this evening is our the last of our right-of-way acquisition effort. So we as you know, last year we purchased the easement from BNSF to put the road under the railroad bridge. Now we have a number of small easements. So for instance, where our sidewalks need to get truncated to put in the ADA ramps and things like that. And we've got I think 5 temporary construction easements to move fences that are encroaching on the right-of-way and some various things as well. So basically, this is a pretty minor right-of-way acquisition effort, so it went a little faster than I expected, which is great. And so that's what's before you tonight, is to finalize this handful of right-of-way easements to purchase, and we are on target to begin construction this spring.
Councilman Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. It looks like you're going to be on time and on budget here, so that's good. That's great. I love being on budget. Yeah, and so looking at this, we got 84.5% covered by the TIP grant, and then the rest is coming from, is it REIT or TBD, or is it a combination of those?
It can be any or all. This is basically the small local mosaic of funding we're using for this project, and so it just kind of all how it shakes out. On what ratio we're using. We're not necessarily using an even ratio on everything, but we're keeping track of this. Mostly it's REIT, but also certainly TBD and transportation impact fees. It's just the source of the pools which our local funding comes from.
Okay, well, I'm good with it.
Councilman Cock?
Thanks, Bill. Good work on this. Have y'all reached out to the affected landowners, residents on?
Regularly and routinely, sir.
Okay, so any pushback, or do they pretty much?
I wouldn't say pushback, more questions, and we're answering them.
Because we're going to enumerate them, so, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Councilwoman Peterson?
I'm hearing from Ward 3 constituents whose fences are being affected by this property. You know, they don't really like it, but from what I've heard, our staff has done a really good job with communication and kind of explaining the situation. And so thank you for that, Bill. And we also were able to talk about this at the open house, and I think it's just really great to have all of that public information available and engaging with the residents who are impacted. So thank you.
What Councilwoman Henderson's speaking of is the 5 houses on the southern right-of-way where their backyards butt against our unused right-of-way. So this was unopened right-of-way largely. And some of them have their fences encroached over 10 feet on the city right-of-way. And so then as our surveyor came through. So we're working through with what those particular rules involve with them. And like I said, it's been a lot of questions and education, and we're at a good place right now.
Councilman LaVaca?
So yeah, mine was very similar with those because that's right over in Ward 2, and we walk over there. They right now got a view of a gully with the deer prancing around and eating vegetation, and it's going to be a road. It's going to be a sidewalk like up to their back deck. So great job on communicating well with them. I've heard some people that were upset, definitely more so, when it was first being really proposed, but now it seems like it's settling in. And if we do see a lot of pushback, I mean, it'd be a great time to note that, and then maybe do another town event for those guys. And right. Thank you.
Councilwoman Peterson?
Oh, I was sorry.
Oh, that's all right. Councilman Cox?
Forgive me if I haven't seen this or read about it, but I also am in Ward 2, so I reside there, but people are asking about the closure of the old passing. What's the timeline on that? And then I didn't notice, but will there be a 4-way stop or anything on Reed and John Liner in the future? Is that
No, it will not be a 4-way stop. But so what's going to right now, Reed is a T intersection because John Liner doesn't go all the way through. So the Reed Street will become the minor leg, and that will get the 2 stop signs, and then the Jones-John Liner corridor will be through access. And sorry, did you have another question there, Councilman?
just the closure time for the previous.
Okay. Thank you. So part of the agreement with BNSF to build the new bridge, and it's also a traffic concern with the city. Actually, Sap Road there is a county road. The city and county jointly maintain it mainly because it goes through our city, and many times our maintenance staff is closer and easier to maintain as we maintain our other roads in the vicinity. And so this is going to be a two-step process. One is we're going to annex the Sap Road right away into the city so that we don't have that discontinuity with the county maintenance crews anymore. And then as part of that, we've agreed to close access through that undercrossing, which, as everybody knows, is a hairpin turn and has several different issues. Originally, BNSF was going to reestablish the embankment under that as a way to close it, but of course that runs into Brickyard Creek and other things. So they have informed me as they were building the bridge this April that it's going to remain open, but our agreement says we still need to close the road to through traffic, which we're all for. So the city will quickly go through. It's also on our 6-year tip. In a very short time frame after we open the Jones-John Line or undercrossing road, because that will then be the major through route, east and west, to close that with a hammerhead turnaround on either side, establish bollards under the bridge, and now it can remain open for pedestrian access. So next year on the 6-year tip, you'll see a new project to establish a bicycle pedestrian route along Sap Road to connect with Reed Street. So then you can utilize Sap Road between Highway 20 and Jones Road right now is pedestrian only. And then so that pedestrian access will extend all the way to Reed Street when we're done with that project, although I can't tell you exactly what year we'll build that in. But and then at that time, Sap Road on the north side of Jones Road will basically become a driveway serving that one property, and then have some sort of separator for the bicycles, pedestrians on the, I'll call it the easterly half of the road. So we've got a plan. How's that? But yeah, so we will be closing that road to that undercrossing to vehicular traffic soon after the main road has been opened as part of our agreement with BNSF.
Perfect, and I just want to say thank you for all you're doing in this, because it's been exciting. I wasn't able to go to your open house, but I told so many people about it. So again, kudos to the city, to the entire team for being so transparent and having this all available in such a way that it's easy to read. So thank you for that.
Councilman LaVaca?
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize you or designate to execute easement and other purchase documents for temporary and permanent easement for the Jones-John Liner Railroad undercrossing project up to a combined total of $30,000.
Second.
Yep. Jinx. All right, we have a motion by Councilman LaVaca, seconded by Councilman Cox. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Thank you. All right, professional services agreement.
Yes, ma'am. So the next item is Cascade, SR20 Cascade Trail West Extension Phase 2A. Man, I promise to establish shorter titles of projects in the future. So this is kind of the final push to finish the design, and then right-of-way. We expect right-of-way may go fairly quickly. It may take up to a year, just simply because we have a number of property owners to work with there. And so this is a proposal to bring on board Reichart and EB and their team to do the final design and also the construction management and inspection on this project as well. It is a project with a little bit of history as council knows, this is a project that Mark Freiberger started, I believe, in 2018 as a grant project, and then we were designing in-house with David Lee for a period of time. And then as we transitioned over in 2024, we actually, because we were without a city engineer for about 9 months, we hired Facet Northwest, and they brought the design to about an 80-90% design. It does include a pedestrian bridge, which we want a third-party analysis on, which Reichart and EB will provide for us. And then we had the flood, and Peter Lane took over some of the design, advanced that design, and part of what he advanced the design with was to elevate the trail by a foot or two in key locations, so we wouldn't have to evacuate some of the different medical services and stuff in that area to basically provide some of that flood resilience. And then now, the other thing that's happened too is we've had a major change in the Washington State DOT specifications. And so part of that, this is a federal project. It's also funded with TIB money. But bringing on the last little bit of professional consulting services to make sure we get over that hump, get a third-party analysis on the pedestrian bridge, which also, by the way, will carry potentially periodic traffic in that if we have a major flood, this trail, as well as Phase 2B, will be outside the 100-year floodplain and potentially maintain emergency services doing a near 100-year flood event to the hospital over our trail. So we want to make sure we're doing our due diligence to make sure we're having these components that will be able to serve that secondary function as well. So this is simply within our budget, and we want to get across the finish line and then get all the federal project requirements done with some professional services.
All right, any questions? Councilwoman Peterson?
Bill, again, this is really great. The amount of ingenuity that's involved in this project planning with the flood resilience and the path that is going to provide accessibility to the hospital. This is a really great project. I have constituents commenting on it all the time. People are really looking forward to this, so thank you for your work on this.
Councilman Koch?
And I thank you also. I think this project will eventually will save lives. You know, I've seen people walking down the side of that road a foot from traffic going 50 plus. And I want to agree with Councilwoman Peterson that the resilience thing, I would think, would be very well received by funding agencies as well, because I think everything that we do going forward in regard to construction of city properties where relevant should really think a lot about flood resilience, because we had a bad one and we'll have another one. Thank you.
Councilman Henderson?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Yeah, great job. You've done a tremendous amount of work on the Jones-John Liner Road, and then I know that you picked this up late in the game, and yeah, you're killing it, man. So with that, I'd motion to authorize Mayor Designee to execute a contract with Reichart and EB Engineering Incorporated for engineering for the State Route 20 Cascade Trail West Extension Phase 2A project in the amount not to exceed $155,000 with minor contract changes as required by Washington State DOT.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion made by Councilman Henderson, seconded by Councilman Koch. Is there any more discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Now the fun part. How about the truck?
Okay.
Here we go.
So, thank you again. We've been having some issues with our garbage trucks lately, and one of the things we have is an interlocal agreement with the city of Mount Vernon to share resources with solid waste equipment. That also includes things like toters and things like that if we need to do that. So we've been borrowing one of their garbage trucks off and on for the last 3-4 months as we've been making repairs to some of our vehicles, as things that have happened to them. And so this is a truck that they've loaned to us in the past. We know this truck. We've used it quite a bit recently. And it just happens to be on their surplusing schedule and their ENR rotation. And they, as you know, it can take a year to 2 years to get a new garbage truck after you place an order. So basically, their garbage truck they placed an order on 2 years ago came, and then they're ready to surplus this one. And so rather than surplus it to public auction, they offered it to us for $40,000. Is a truck that our mechanic's gone through a basic review of it. It hasn't done an intensive review. He's also coordinated with the Mason County, the Mount Vernon Maintenance Department as well. It has a good history. It's a sound vehicle. They're $40,000 is what they're offering. Of course, we'd recommend taking that. I will say it's likely, as our mechanic goes through it, I've suggested to him that it's going to be worth placing some more investment into this truck to just extend its life cycle. And one of those things may be adding a heavy lift kit to it. Right now, it doesn't have the heavy-duty garbage lifting arms on it and stuff. But even if we spent $200,000 on that, and he thinks it's going to be under $100,000, but we'll know more, we would be spending less than half the cost of a new truck. And similar strategy to what we did a year and a half ago with council with one of our dump trucks that we replaced the dump on it that had rusted off from salt and stuff, and we invested about $100,000 in that, and it's now a very good serviceable truck without having to go into the long lead time of ordering a new one. So it's one of those strategies we've been trying to work with to truly get some good service life when we have a vehicle that has a lot of miles on the engine to go. And so anyway, with that, I would appreciate being able to purchase this with Mount Vernon, and I'm glad we have such a good relationship with them, so for them to offer us such a good deal on a truck like this to us.
Councilman Dion?
Thank you. Well, we already know this truck, and so it's got a flatter learning curve for our staff, and it's been checked out preliminary by our mechanic. We need it. We should have it. At the price point seems right, and so I support it, and I think this is a no-brainer. So I move to authorize the mayor or designee to execute the agreement with the city of Mount Vernon, purchase of the 2007 CCC automated refuse truck for $40,000.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilman DeYoung, seconded by Councilman Henderson. Is there any more discussion? Councilman Henderson?
Thank you. It's been a long time since I bought a garbage truck. How much does a brand new one cost? Just so we can hear the difference between 40,000.
Just about $500,000.
500,000. This is a good deal.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign. Happy Garbage Truck Day. All right, let's see here. So you see the information-only items, and is there anything for the good of the order? We do not have an executive session tonight.
I have one point.
So, Councilman Henderson?
For good of the order, for the September 9th meeting, I would ask to be excused.
No.
Thanks.
Wanted to speak right.
Is there a particular reason?
Yeah, I'm gonna be out of the country.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a point of personal privilege to congratulate Councilmember Henderson on his upcoming marriage.
Thank you.
I would like to I will third that and say welcome to the family.
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
So I was wondering if we can have I believe, a deeper discussion on those baseball fields and what the plan is, maybe at a workshop coming up, which is probably already in the works, I'm sure. Yes, you're nodding your head, of course it would be. So thank you very much for doing that.
Yes.
There's a lot of interested people on where are we going to put these kids. If we can't do here, what do we want to do there? And I know that you had a plan, and you always do, so thanks.
Thank you. And I'll give a little hint on that, we are going to do a joint session with the school district, and we will be bringing them to the table as well as all of us at a study session and discuss the potential option that we have. Did you want to say something on that, Bill?
No,
Okay. I just thought you were waving your hand.
I was.
Okay.
So, so this Monday was my birthday. My wife made me a Cookie Monster cake to celebrate, and then she had to use up the rest of the frosting because she had too much, so they made a dozen or so cupcakes. And so, being as council never gets to participate in any of these staff level things, I gave everybody a cupcake. So they came from me, not just from a random person.
So we know, don't eat them.
Well,
Can we sing happy birthday? Lower the
No,
lights.
it's not my birthday anymore.
Thank your wife for these, and also I want to thank Robert Alvarez Jr. for coming all this way, and we're very excited to be a Purple Heart City, and all of the veterans that are out there as well, and up here as well, and the people continuing to serve for us. So with that, I'll be yes.
I would like to acknowledge an elected in the room that with Skagit County Commissioner Ron Wiesen has been in the room the entire meeting, and thank you for visiting us. With that, I move to adjourn.
All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much. Motion adjourned, 7:41. I know it. I'm so excited.